So where are you at right now, TJ?
Key Largo, Florida.
Are you like Bertie Higgins?
I'm like Aruba, then Jamaica. You know that's where you want to take you.
We
And
had it all in Key Largo.
I go. Baby got that cargo in Key Largo.
She's packing much cargo in Key Largo. But she looked like Jackie Fargo.
Oh, that's bad.
Oh, my!
Another classic made by
We're like
Chris
Lennon.
and I.
We're like Lennon and McCartney.
Yeah, we sure are. We write some good songs that will never get published or produced, but one day, all right.
I think my executive producer's starting to calm down a little bit here.
Yeah.
So the first thing I want to do, TJ, is ask you a little trivia about the hottest band in the world, and let's see what
Metallica.
You wanted the best, and you got it, Saxon. What Kiss song can you find the lyrics? I want your hornet's nest. I wish I was making this up.
I want your hornet's nest. What lyric off the song?
Now, what's the name of the song that you can find those lyrics in? And obviously, It had to have been written by Gene for something to be that terrible.
You wanted the best?
You got the hornet's nest.
Nest? Yeah.
Oh, that's your answer. You wanted the best? No, It's actually from the album Asylum, and the song is called Any Way You Slice It.
Oh, yeah, like I listen to that album all the time.
Out on the streets for a living. Pictures only
begun.
What song is that?
Black Diamond.
Woo-hoo!
Black Diamond.
Woo-hoo! Black Diamond. You know, when I go to the grocery store here in Texas, we go to HEB, right?
Uh-huh.
So I always buy a gallon of unsweet tea, and the brand that I buy is Red Diamond. So every time I go to pick it up out of the freezer there, I have to sing, woo-hoo, Red Diamond.
Your high notes are getting pretty good for your old age.
Out of tea in the evening.
Out of sweet tea in the evening. Okay.
What is Eric Carr's real name? Oh, yes, sir. I see that.
I remember. No, gosh darn, Eddie Trunk was talking about this.
Did you stump the trunk, TJ?
Chris is from Westover, part of Jackson, folks.
The Westover hood.
Yep. Eric Cass. It's Castellini, Castelloni, or something like that.
It is Paul Caravello. What Kiss album can you find the song Modern Day Delilah?
One of those albums with the fake Ace and the
Imposters.
With the Imposters, Gene and the Imposters. That would be off Sonic Boom.
Do you mean Tommy Faker and Eric Switcher? Yes, you got it right, TJ. It's Sonic Boom.
2-2.
We're going to get it right here in a minute.
That's what she said.
All right. What is the missing lyric from this song, Heaven's on Fire? I look at you and my blood boils hot. I feel my temperature rise. I want it all. Give me what you got. There's something in your eyes. What is
There's hunger in your eyes.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. The right word is hunger. Good.
And what do you do when you're hungry? You're hungry.
TJ is currently 3 wins and 2 losses. And now we are going to ask him another hard question. What is Ace Frehley's real name?
Peter Chris Cola was Peter Chris. I forgot.
His name was Paul Freely. As you know, Eric Carr replaced Peter Criss in 1980.
No shit.
And what venue was his first live performance? Or just say what city?
Detroit.
Was it Detroit Rock City? No, it was back in the New York Groove City, New York City.
Oh.
So what are you, 3 and what? 5 now?
3 and 5. What?
All these questions are really, really easy.
Ask me one of them. Let's see if I might get it wrong.
Oh, I didn't even know this.
Oh, like I'm gonna know it.
What ex-Kiss member helped form the glam rock band White Tiger in 1986?
Ace Frehley did Frehley's Comment. In what year?
86.
86. So Keelik was with. He didn't have a side project. Was it Peter Criss?
No, it was Mark St. John.
Oh, for God's sakes, he played one show with them.
It counts, baby.
Oh, please. Oh, fuck, babe. Mark St. John, didn't he just play one solo and play 2 live shows with him? Yeah, he's a real member of Kiss.
All right, so you are currently 3 and 6. This is our last question.
Ask me one more, and we'll see where we are.
What year did Ace Frehley officially leave Kiss? Officially.
Are we talking post-makeup or reunion?
I'm just asking you. Yeah. It's before they got back together for the reunion.
Okay. He officially left Kiss. We'll see. I'm going to go 82.
Oh, so close.
83? 82?
83.
Okay, yeah, because I knew Lick It Up came in late 83.
Yeah, so
that's why I thought it was 82.
Yeah, that's good, man. You almost got that.
Yeah.
1983.
Yeah.
After he laid down the tracks to the greatest album in history, The Elder.
It's the greatest album to sit in the bathroom.
On Facebook, I'm trying to pull it up now. Here it is. I follow this page called The Butcher Shop on Facebook. Do you know that page? So it's a hard rock heavy metal page, and it's a really good page.
Right.
Here it goes. They always have these like NCAA brackets on it for different things. So they are. Let me pull this up. Like the one matchup right now is the Butcher Shop is Judas Priest, KK Downing, and Glenn Tipton versus Saxons, Graham Oliver, and Paul Quinn. And you click on the picture to vote. And right now, Judas Priest duo is winning 92-8% against Saxon. But here's one, and this is kind of surprising because this is the championship out of the bracket. And I want to pull the bracket up so I can kind of read it to you here. So I'm going to go down this bracket, and I'm going to have you tell me which one you would have picked to advance to the next round. Okay. And then I'll tell you who actually won by fan vote. All right.
Okay.
So the first round matchup is Freddie Mercury versus Jeff Tate.
Freddie Mercury, hands down. Even Jeff Tate would say that.
So Freddie Mercury, yes, you got that right. The next one is David Coverdale versus Klaus Meine.
Klaus Meine.
Yes, Klaus Meine won. The next one is Ronnie James Dio versus Ian Gillan.
You're saying better has a better voice?
It's who do you like better as a singer? That's how it's phrased.
Okay. That's a tie. That's tied. I mean,
you got to get off the fence, man. Come on. Pick one.
I'm going to go Dio because of Black Sabbath.
Okay. Sammy Hagar versus Glenn Hughes.
I was going to say, I know where you're going with this one. Sammy Hagar.
Okay. You got that right, too. So far, you are 4-0. The next one is Chris Cornell versus Lane Staley.
Chris Cornell.
I would have picked Lane, but yes, you're right. Chris Cornell. He won. Steve Walsh versus Bruce Dickinson.
Can I take a timeout on that one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Lane Staley. The reason why I'm saying Chris Cornell, because even though both were good, Lane Staley needed Jerry Cantrell way too much. So he had the heart. Chris Cornell didn't have anybody. But that's just
Yeah. I mean, they're both great singers. Steve Walsh and Bruce Dickinson.
Bruce.
Yes, you got that right. So far, you are 6-0, TJ. All right, here we go. Robert Plant versus Paul Rogers.
Robert Plant.
Yeah, you got that right. Janie Lane versus Sebastian Bach.
Oh, Sebastian Bach. You kidding me?
You're 8-0. You're right so far. Steve Marriott versus Roger Daltrey.
There you go. Steve Marriott.
Roger Daltrey won that one.
Oh, okay.
Robin Zander versus Steven Tyler.
Robin Zander versus Steven Tyler. Wow. Steven Tyler.
Yeah, that's what I thought would happen, but Robin Zander actually beat him in the poll.
Good Lord.
Yeah, that was very surprising. I mean, not very surprising because I think Robin Zander is a great singer. I think
they want you to want them.
I think what it is I think Aerosmith and Steven Tyler are so much more popular that I thought that most people wouldn't give Xander the respect. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Here's a good one. David Lee Roth versus Bon Scott.
Bon Scott.
Yeah, you got that right. So Bon Scott. So you've only missed 2. So far you got 2 that you missed. Steve Perry versus Lou Gramm.
Steve Perry.
Yes, he won.
You ain't getting that midnight blue on me.
Rob Halford versus Paul Stanley.
Paul.
Paul won, and I was surprised. I thought Rob would win that.
No, because I'm telling you what, Paul has an octave range. All right, and plus he's one of the best showmen ever hit the stage. Judas Priest, he has 2 voices.
Yeah,
medium and just outrageously high.
I was going to say I think Rob sounds better at a high register than Paul does, but I think Paul sounds better at a low register. I think Paul was more versatile than that.
That would have been a hard decision if it was Sebastian Bach and Rob Halford.
Yeah. And this is like anything. It's about who you get matched up with. Can depend on how far you go. You know.
You kidding me? You're going to put somebody else other than Steve Perry? Come on.
Let me see this name. Doug Pinnick versus Brad Delp. Brad Delp was the singer for Boston.
I mean, I did lose my heart to Gretchen in Nebraska. I'm not going to – I can't go Doug Pinnick. No.
So you're going Brad Delp? All right.
Brad Delp.
So, Brad Delp won that. So far, you've only missed 2. Ann Wilson versus Joan Jett.
Ann Wilson.
Yes.
Joan Jett's a great rocker, but Ann Wilson, man, if you ever want to hear a great recording, go to YouTube and search Queensryche, Nancy Wilson.
Okay.
Oh, my God, dude.
Now, I heard her do the honor show when they honored Led Zeppelin at the White House.
Yeah.
She did a good job there. I saw that.
Yeah. No, listen to this. I mean, Nancy had a hell of a voice range. Nancy Wilson was incredible.
You know, what might surprise a lot of people is that when Heart first came out, they were panned by the critics for being a Led Zeppelin ripoff.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah. Stevie Nicks versus Pat Benatar.
Oh man, my dad would be. Hey, Dad, I'm not gonna let you down when I say this. I'm gonna go Stevie Nicks.
The winner was Pat Benatar. So
I love some Pat Benatar, but
yeah,
Stevie Nicks, my dad raised me on.
yeah, I understand that, man. So you only missed 3 out of the first round, and when I say miss, I mean as far as the poll went. Not that you're wrong. Not that you're wrong, but all right. So we're in the second round, TJ, and it's first matchup is Freddie Mercury versus Klaus Meine.
Freddie Mercury.
Yes, Freddie Mercury won that. The second matchup is Ronnie James Dio versus Sammy Hagar.
Sammy Hagar.
Ronnie James won that one.
Uh-huh.
The next round is Chris Cornell versus Bruce Dickinson.
Bruce Dickinson.
Yes, Bruce won that one. The next matchup is Robert Plant versus Sebastian Bach.
Robert Plant.
Yes, Robert Plant won that one. In the next round, Roger Daltrey of The Who versus Robin Zander of Cheap Trick.
Ooh, gonna go with Roger Daltrey on that.
Yeah, Daltrey won. The next matchup, Bon Scott versus Steve Perry.
Shit. Man, Dad, you're gonna hate me for this one, but I'm gonna go Bon Scott.
Yeah, and that was a big surprise. But yeah, Bon Scott actually won.
And listen, Journey. We'll have another discussion after this on Journey. On my opinion of them.
I mean, if you just talk about voice, Bon Scott's not even the same universe as Steve Perry.
No, he's not.
But if you talk about attitude and being a front man, that's something else. But I mean, if you just set him down and tell them to sing something, I mean, Bon Scott couldn't even keep up.
No.
The next round is Paul Stanley versus Brad Delp, the lead singer of Boston.
You go Paul Stanley.
Paul Stanley won. When that was hard because if you listen to that part and More Than a Feeling when Brad Delp goes like 3 octaves.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not many singers who've ever been alive that can accomplish that feat.
Excuse me?
Present company excluded, of course. But,
yeah.
Paul won. The next matchup is Ann Wilson versus Pat Benatar.
Who I like as a singer? Pat Benatar.
All right, Ann Wilson won that one.
It was a toss-up. That was a hard one.
Yeah. So now we're going to the third round, which in basketball terms would be the final 8. What we call the grade 8 in basketball.
Okay.
First round is Freddie Mercury versus Ronnie James Dio.
Freddie Mercury.
Should have been the correct choice, but the fans picked Ronnie James Dio, which.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So
okay, I'm gonna lose this whole round.
So right then and there, this contest is a null and void because Freddie's the GOAT.
Yeah, he is. He is. He's the GOAT.
So the next matchup, I'm sorry, is Bruce Dickinson versus Robert Plant. It's a tough one, man.
I've seen both of them live, and both of them were really awesome.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna have to go with Led Zeppelin. I have to go with Robert Plant.
He's going Robert Plant, but the fans chose Bruce Dickinson.
Hey, it's great. It's a great matchup. I told you I'm going to lose every one of these questions.
Next matchup, Roger Daltrey of The Who versus AC/DC's Bon Scott.
You can't argue with heaven or can't argue with highway to hell, so I'm going Bon Scott.
And the fans chose Roger Daltrey.
No.
Our next round, still kind of feminine, even though it's not. Ann Wilson of Heart versus Paul Stanley of Kiss.
Oh, fuck.
You know, I was talking to somebody backstage before, and they said that Aaron Wilson likes to eat a lot of donuts and ice cream.
Were you giving away the question? I mean, I'm going to go Paul.
Yeah, Paul Stanley won.
Uh,
All right, now we are in the Final Four, TJ.
Final Four.
And the first matchup is Ronnie James Dio versus Bruce Dickinson.
Bruce Dickinson.
And the fans chose Ronnie James Dio. And our next matchup, we have the Who's Roger Daltrey versus Paul Stanley.
Paul Stanley.
Yes, Paul Stanley won that. So that means in the championship round, we have Ronnie James Dio versus Paul Stanley.
Paul Stanley.
And the voting lasts for 2 days. And as of right now, I'll tell you where the stats are. So with 24 hours left in voting, Ronnie James Dio has received 50.4% of the votes. Paul Stanley has received 49.6% of the votes.
Oh, my God.
So that's how close that one is. So are there any things you would like to talk about as far as that bracket between the singers? What's some of your takeaways from that?
Well, I like the bracket and everything. And it was challenging, but to me, I had to think of who put on a better show. You know, Roger Daltrey, all he's going to do is twist the microphone. So you're going to put him up against Paul Stanley? Come on.
Yeah.
You know, but Steve Perry, you can't match. He's like Chris Cornell. You just can't match him, even though Journey's doing a heck of a good job now. But
Yeah.
the fans want Steve Perry.
I thought the two best singers in that whole bracket were Freddie and Steve Perry.
Yeah. I saw an interview with Journey the other day, and they were talking about, Sean saying, we never needed this Steve Perry to sound successful. We don't need anybody like Steve Perry. And I was like, that's really shocking because your last two singers have had to sound exactly like Steve Perry because nobody cares. It's like Kiss. Nobody cares, or Leonard Skinner. Nobody cares anything about before the original group.
We don't need Spaceman Fraley because we got Frank and Ace Tommy Thayer. He could shoot rockets at his guitar and sing Shock Me.
And he's going to do a horrible job doing it.
While I pretend to sing with a backing vocal and I move my mouth.
And I strutted my hips around like I'm doing the pony. The Paul Pony. Trademark, by the way.
The other night on stage, I got kind of concerned for my good friend, Mr. Gene Simmons. He was doing his blood spitting routine, and I saw him start to choke, and I looked over, and I noticed that he didn't have no blood, but instead he was choking on a jelly donut. One of those strawberry-filled jelly donuts.
You know what I'm talking about? You're crazy, dude.
And these are crazy, crazy nights.
Yeah, but speaking of, everybody that is sang for Journey since Steve Perry left, do you see it the same thing? They're viewed the same way as Tommy Taylor and Eric Singer are? I mean, they're just hired to sound like somebody.
The guy in Journey, it was presented to him like, hey, we want you because you sound like Steve Perry. Neil Schon said he spent thousands of hours on YouTube looking for somebody who had a voice like Steve Perry. I don't think they ever tried to present it other than that. So I think that they have a little more integrity than Kiss when it comes to that, because Kiss has constantly said, we don't need Ace Frehley, we don't need Peter Criss, but yet they dress people up like them. and they have them shoot lasers and smoke out of their guitar and sing Beth and sing Shock Me. So Kiss is saying one thing but doing another, while Journey's like, yeah, we want somebody who sounds just like Steve Perry, and they never tried to pretend like they didn't.
Yeah, but when I heard that song off Armageddon, with what was his name, Steve Bellamy or something like that, Steve Argarelli, I thought Journey had reunited because it sounded so much like Steve Perry and it had the same melody as a Steve Perry song. It just sounded so much close to like him. But answer me this: when they reunited in '96, Kiss did. If they said we're going to get on stage, but we're not going to put on the makeup show, would you still gone? I would have.
In '96 to see the originals? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Because it's not just about the makeup. And yeah, when you're a kid in the 70s and you see the makeup, of course that's going to grab your attention. But if they don't have catchy songs and they don't have, things that you can pump your fists in the air and anthem rock and catchy solos, and it's not going to keep your attention, because if all you have to do is throw on makeup to become an all-time great band, then why aren't other bands doing it?
Right.
If that's all it takes,
But okay, let's say you and I go to a sold-out Kiss show and we look at the entire crowd. How many of them really know what Black Diamond is all about? How many of them really know?
Nobody under the age of 40.
Okay, I'm going to say that 30% of the people in those crowds came just because Kiss meant the world to them. They know everything about Black Diamond from everything.
Yeah. Look who's in the background, TJ. I'm being hijacked.
Hola, señorito.
Hola, mamacita bonita. ¿Qué pasó?
Mom, you got to talk here.
No, it's okay. I have to go.
You just got to talk by the microphone.
No, but I have to go this time.
Adios.
She said there was a sale at Macy's, brother. She's gone. Woohoo! Gives me toe. So Steve Perry, Journey. Yes.
Okay.
What's another takeaway from that bracket?
Chris Cornell. Nick.
Put him either in the backyard or in the cage, Mom. You might want to put him. Okay.
She go to work?
No, she took the dog out to the backyard because he had to go to the bathroom, I think.
Okay. All right.
So what about Chris Cornell?
Okay. Him, and let's see if we can name 5. Okay, him, Freddie Mercury. If it would have been him and Freddie Mercury together, I'd have said there'd been a problem. Because even though Freddie Mercury was who he was, Chris Cornell, you just could not match. Have you ever seen on YouTube it was a compilation video of all these people who went to see him in San Francisco, and they all combined their videos together to make one big performance. Okay. Look on YouTube for Chris Cornell, I Will Always Love You, by Dolly Parton.
Don't you mean Whitney Houston?
Someone, whoever.
No, Dolly wrote it and performed it first.
Dolly. Yeah, and Whitney made her a ton of money.
Yeah.
But that when he sang those songs, there was not a dry eye in the theater. It was beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Cornell was great. I can't sit here, and I don't want to disparage one person over another, because that's not just to uplift one person. You shouldn't have to tear down somebody else. But for me, Freddie and Steve Perry are just on different levels than anybody else in that contest.
Well, both had an incredible vocal range, but Steve just gave it that raspy, gritty feeling to it. But their octave range and everything just can't beat them.
It's hard, man. And what about, are there any singers that didn't make it that surprised you? Or do you know of a singer that should have been on that list?
John Bon Jovi.
Oh, see, we disagree about that. I always noticed, even in the 80s, during their hair day heyday, that whenever I heard Bon Jovi sing live, it was just something that didn't sound very good to me. It was like, I'm not feeling that. And I gather, because what I'm hearing live with my ears, there was a lot of production done in the studio to make it sound a lot better than what it actually is. And
yeah,
I think I mean, Bon Jovi is obviously going to get made fun of for being chick rock and chick music and all that. But I've always said this to all my metalhead friends: if you listen to the solo album he did for Young Guns, read the lyrics to the songs Miracle and Santa Fe. Those are some of the best lyrics you can find. They're just like heartfelt lyrics. Are really good. And the guy had some talent when it came to writing, but of course everybody's going to remember him for being part of the hair metal wave and all the girls going crazy over him and him singing those poppy chick music songs, you know.
Yeah, but what was it, 7,800 degrees Fahrenheit?
Yeah.
Or 9,800 degrees Fahrenheit, whatever it is.
The melting point of rock.
Yeah. Well, that was a great album. That was they were a really good rock band that tried
out of love.
Okay, but they got, because they were all cute and pretty and everything, they got thrown into the glam metal scene.
Yeah.
You know, when they really weren't a glam metal band or anything. They were a good rock band. They were like the Bruce Springsteen, the E Street Band, like a little bit more rocker, but I mean, out of New Jersey.
With more hair.
Awesome. Yeah.
Now, in the late 70s, 1979 to be exact, and I want you to do some research to see if this is true, TJ. You know, at the height of Star Wars Mania, there was a song that came out for Christmas, and it goes, R2D2, we wish you a Merry Christmas. And it's got C3PO talking throughout the song.
I don't even want to hear that.
And it's got these kids sing. No, but let me finish. It's got these kids singing, and it's got the R2D2 sound effects, right? And the song is credited to Bon Jovi as being his first song he ever released.
Really?
Yes. Look it up on YouTube or Google it, and you'll see it. It's called R2D2, We Wish You a Merry Christmas.
Oh, God, that sounds just horrible.
Yeah, it's like so cheesy that it's almost great.
I would cut him if he ever dedicated something like that to me. Oh, it's unbelievably. God, that's horrible. That's an abomination, actually. Continue on.
So, yeah, Bon Jovi would not have been somebody I would have threw on in that.
I like him. Bruce Springsteen.
I like Bruce's music and some of his lyrics more than I actually like his voice. His voice is okay, but sometimes it sounds like he's going to the bathroom.
Okay.
But
all right.
You know who's I would have thought might have been on there was Scott Weiland. I like Scott Weiland.
Yeah, Scott Weiland's good, but I'm going to take it a little bit further back.
All right.
Okay. And he should have been part of the $1 Million Quartet if he was any bit of attractive, but Elvis kind of took the thing. But Roy Orbison.
Yeah, Roy was good.
Roy Orbison was insanely good. The man.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think this was just mainly for hard rock, heavy metal, because if it was for rock, they would have had Elvis in there too.
Well, what about Prince? I mean, he was everything.
Prince was every genre. He could classify in like almost any genre you think of. That's what
Queen
made,
or okay, if you had one concert to go to, Queen or Prince?
I'm gonna have to say Prince. I think I'll go see Prince.
That's the greatest show I ever saw in my life. And then I think a couple of weeks later, I had to go see Kiss and watch Paul Stanley almost die on stage.
TJ, I know you just saw the artist formerly known as Prince, but tonight I want you to know that I was made for loving you.
Oh God, Chris, stop!
What?
I'm glad this is. Hope this is not going to be telecasted. Oh my God, that's horrible.
Let me think. So we're in the hard rock heavy metal vein.
Okay.
Nothing just rock, because obviously Elvis would have been in there if it was just rock, straight up rock. I was
What about
kind
the
of.
singer from Steelheart?
Oh God. What about your boy Mark Slaughter?
Oh Christ.
Your idol, Mark Slaughter.
Okay, what about Gunnar and Matthew Nelson? If we're going to go that route,
They can't live without your love and affection, TJ.
Brett Michaels.
Brett Michaels, no.
Yeah, he was horrible. Don Dokken.
I'm alone again without George Lynch.
No, I mean, hey, Don Dokken had a voice. He had a good vocal range.
Yeah. Did you ever see that stand-up of George Carlin when he's just absolutely ripping apart Dokken?
No.
Oh my God, he was merciless on Dokken. It was bad, man.
George Carlin?
George Carlin.
Why did he get into it with Dokken?
Somehow or another, he got talked into going to see a Dokken concert.
Uh-huh.
Oh, and it wasn't good.
Let's see, who did I go? That was, okay, you and I, remember, we went to the Slam Glam Summer Jam 1. And then the next year, I went with Randa to see the Slam Glam Summer Jam 2.
Now, we saw.
And Dokken was in it.
But, yeah, Dokken wasn't there when I went there. I think it was Rat. I can't remember. Poison was there.
It was
I remember that.
Poison, Rat,
Yeah,
LA Guns, I think. LA Guns.
Yeah, sounds right.
And then, who was it? There's 3.
And that's
Great
when
White. I think it was Great White.
Yeah, I think you're right. And that's when you're like talking about Tom Kiefer, and then he showed up on stage. You're like, man, I wish Cinderella was here. And like 5 minutes later, like, we're gonna bring on Tom Kiefer of Cinderella. I was like, yeah,
that was insane. That was, and see, the year after that, it was, it was Great White that we saw with them. That was the third one.
Okay.
Because the year after that was Poison. Poison, Cinderella, Slaughter, and Dokken.
All right.
And Dokken, that was when they had the guitars from Winger. It was pretty damn good.
Red Beach.
Yep.
Yeah. So on that page, they also have the battle of the guitarists too, and they have the battle of the bass players, and they have all kind of battle of the drummers. So let me see if I can pull up battle of the guitarists, because they've only done one round.
Man, that's gonna be here all night. Be here all night arguing that one.
I'm trying to see something here. So as far as the vocalists that were left out, I'm trying to think, man. I really don't think there's anybody that was, egregious to say.
Yeah.
That they were omitted. I know some people might say Kurt Cobain, but
No.
That's
But
like
he was good.
he was good at what he did, but he is
Yeah.
not an all-time great singer. He is not an all-time
Uh-huh.
great guitarist, which when people mention Kurt Cobain as being an all-time great guitarist, that just shows you that they don't know nothing about the instrument.
Right.
Now, I like his music. I
Yeah.
like what they did as a band. I mean, they were a great band, but him individually as a singer, as a guitarist, But when you put them all together with his amazing lyrics, now if they did a bracket about the best lyricist, he should be right up there with anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. But for one thing, I never respected them at first, but then when you stop and realize that this band single-handedly killed heavy metal, rock and roll, hard rock, whatever, they killed it.
But
I mean, overnight.
let me add on to that. Okay, they are often credited with killing at that time, which was mainly hair metal, rock and roll, or whatever. And that is true, but also the artists that were partaking in hair metal, they helped killed it too, because it was just the same rinse, repeat.
They wanted balance.
Yeah, it was the rinse, repeat cycle, and
Yeah.
people got tired of hearing the same old thing. And when they came along, they kicked rock and roll in the nuts, and it needed to be kicked in the nuts, and it was a good thing. And it brought on some new bands, great bands like Alice in Chains, and Sound.
Allison, I think just because Alice in Chains was from Seattle, they got thrown in the grunge era, but they were they could have saved metal.
Yeah,
because Guns N' Roses saved metal they really killed the hair metal genre. They killed them when they came out. And then, with Guns N' Roses came your Skid Row and, a lot of other good bands that brought metal and rock back together.
Yeah. But here's what I also say, that even though it was good that the Seattle bands took over for a while, and it, that's the thing about rock and roll, is it'll purge itself. Every decade or so, there'll be something new that comes along and changes the game up, even though it's been way longer than a decade since that's happened in rock music. But that's another story. But on the flip side of that is, okay, because of Nirvana's success and how it ruined the quote unquote hair metal genre and things like that, it also contributed to what I would say the demise of rock and roll as a popular genre, because shortly after Nirvana came out, within about a 3 to 5 year period, you start seeing shit like Creed and Nickelback. I mean, if you like them, you like them. That's fine. I'm not here to disparage them or nothing, but they were just like, Creed and Nickelback were just like a poor man's version of Pearl Jam, something like that. And after a while, people was like, man, this is just the same stuff we've been listening to. And, fast forward 5 years from that point, who's listening to rock and roll since the year 2000?
Look at the rock videos they're playing.
Yeah, I know. But what band has come along since the year 2000 that has kicked people in the nuts and said, look, man, we're a great rock band, and, look at us, and has made an impact? Nobody.
I'll say, what about Disturbed? What about Godsmack? What about I like Godsmack.
Now listen,
Godsmack had some great songs.
Godsmack came out towards the late 90s, and when they first came out, everybody thought,
but so did Creed and everybody else. They came out at the same time.
But you have to remember, when Godsmack first came out, a lot of people was like, man, it's just like a Metallica ripoff. There's nothing new. It's nothing different. And then Disturbed, I think it's a good band. I'll grant you that. But have they really shook up the world? I mean, how many people you see walking around talking about Disturbed? And I mean, I was in education.
You'd be surprised.
I'm talking about.
When I was in college, I was 36 years old, and they were all about 18, 19, 20, and they were all in their little Disturbed shirts.
Yeah,
They got a heck of a following.
I'll put it this way. In the educational field I work, I see kids walking around with more classic rock band T-shirts than Disturbed or.
Well, you can thank the
You know.
Kardashians for that.
Right.
You know, I mean, I mean, you can't say every genre is okay. A lot of people don't like Creed because they came way too commercialized. So did Nickelback, but Creed's gone. But if you listen to Alter Bridge, which is all three members of the band with Miles Kennedy, every album is incredible. They're great musicians.
But
so
TJ, come on, man. Come on. Be real. I grew up in the 70s, 80s, even in the early 90s, man. Rock bands were coming out. They were ruling. People were going crazy. They were selling albums. People were like gaga over these bands. Be honest. Since 2000, what band has achieved that?
Okay, it's not about could they achieve it if the media was not so centered towards hip hop and contemporary and stuff like that.
That's exactly my point.
Back then, they didn't boost. You didn't see rap videos on MTV. It started off as poppy, but I mean, I think it's not the 80s anymore. But for bands to still, I wouldn't say they're terrible. They're no Guns N' Roses by any stature, but we've had some good bands.
Yeah, no doubt.
Since 2000. Hell,
yeah.
Fear Factory's one. I think they're incredible.
And it's not about the quality of the bands that are out, because I'm sure there's a lot of great bands out there. I'm just saying they are not getting promoted. They are not they're not what kids listen to. You talk to kids about rock and roll, I would say half of them roll their eyes and go, I don't even listen to rock and roll. That's what my dad listens to.
Okay, but they go to a Kiss concert do you think they go there to say, oh, please, God, play Black Diamond?
No, they go for the show.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you go to see
they go see Metallica because that's their dad or that's their uncle's favorite band.
No, because of Enter Sandman. They're the band that's cool. They sing that song Enter Sandman, So they don't know anything.
You know what I do is when I see kids walking in the hall and they have a classic rock band shirt on, I stop them and I say, oh, man, that's a cool shirt. And they always say, oh, thank you. And I say, what's your favorite song or your favorite album by them? And they just look at me like – and then and instead of stopping there and being like an arrogant jerk and going, oh, you're just a poser or whatever, I say, look, check out this song from that band that you're wearing on your shirt, or check out this album from that band. And I've had several students throughout the year come back, oh, Mr. Lyon, you're right. That was a great album, or that's a great song, And that's what I do, because a lot of people will see them and they would ask the question, oh, what's your favorite Led Zeppelin song? And they'd be like, I'm not really sure. Then, and they just kind of belittle that person. No. Go buy Led Zeppelin 4 or download Zeppelin 4 on Spotify and listen to it. And they go, oh, my God, that is so amazing, a few days later. So,
well, I mean, I was grown up. I was grown up to hate Ozzy Osbourne and everything. But then when I was 8 years old on a Boy Scout camping trip and I heard Iron Man for the first time, my world was changed.
Right.
Sold my soul right then and there.
Sold your soul to rock and roll.
You damn right, baby.
So, I mean, it's about the promotion. It's not about bands aren't good enough anymore. And it hasn't never been about that. It's about they're not being promoted. And the kids that are on downloading Spotify, they don't care about it. And maybe that's because they're not exposed to it. And if they got exposed to it, maybe it would be a different story. But why aren't they getting exposed to it? And I think the main reason is it's easier to get a pop artist who doesn't even have to be able to sing because of auto-tune, and the producers are making all the music. They don't even have to have instruments, and they just say, hey, sing this, and they have a hit, and almost every song on the radio sounds alike, be it man or woman. And then when they get to be big or whatever or want more money, they just get rid of them and bring somebody else in, And
Yeah. Okay, but think about this, and I'm not saying kids today are stupid or anything and they're not intelligent, but do you think really kids really can understand a guitar solo?
no, because
If
no, go ahead.
Okay, the guitar solo was the guitarist's feelings. That was the lead guitarist's feelings and heart right there in that solo. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
kids today wouldn't be able to understand that kind of music. They wouldn't understand that most of those songs were played on four tracks of recording. Today they got about 32, and it was original. It was raw. Kids just can't understand that.
Because what happened is when rap and hip hop started becoming really popular in the late 80s and early 90s, they did away with solos and rock music and they
Yeah,
replaced them with token rap parts.
yeah,
And now people are not used to hearing instrument, be it guitar, drums, or anything, over a prolonged period of time without either somebody singing or rapping because their
yeah.
attention span can't handle it.
Well, do you think that's why? Okay, you want to bring up to the thousands. That's when you went from new metal, which was the Limp Bizkit, the Korn,
Yeah.
they saw hip hop taking over. So the only way to save rock and roll was to put hip hop in, mix it together. And it sounded horrible. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not saying Limp Bizkit's making a lot more money than I am, but I can't call them a metal band. They sounded heavy, but it was like Dr. Dre up there trying to be Tom Araya.
Yeah.
So it just didn't work. It just doesn't work for me because they just don't understand it.
Yeah. I just know that if Rush were to put out Tom Sawyer today, that nobody would even give a shit because
No.
who's going to sit down and listen to a drum interlude or drum solo that lasts for 15 to 20 seconds? They're going to be like, they should have been rapping on there. Why does that guy keep playing the drums?
Yeah. And yeah, they just can't appreciate real raw talent that is got a God-given right, not somebody that can, just sing lyrics. That was not written by him, like Michael Jackson.
Yeah, I think a lot of people fall in that category.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the big criticisms of George Strait by pure country artists or fans is that he doesn't write his own songs, and they think he's basically been made by, manufactured by the record company. And he just gets songs handed to him. So
Well, so is Elvis.
Yeah, you're right.
Elvis was, and that's why, Elvis was he was pretty and he could dance and he could sing.
Yeah.
That's it. He didn't write half the stuff he wrote, but he was pretty and he sold records.
Mm-hmm.
But you want to go by better talent, all the $1 Million Quartet except for Elvis had really great musicianship talent.
Yeah.
Okay, so who should have been in there? Roy Orbison. Orbison was a great guitar player. He wrote great songs. He had an amazing voice.
Yeah, Scotty Moore, the guitarist for Elvis, was really good. I think he doesn't get enough love. He was a really good guitarist. Trying to think, man, what's going on with you as far as all this COVID-19 business, man?
I'm doing what I got to do.
What's happening in Florida?
They're still, you can't go anywhere without a mask. Got to have a mask on in all store. When Dana picked me up at the airport last week, we went driving around Miami Beach. Everything's closed down. So they got cops everywhere. Can't be on the street after 12. Have to have a mask on at all times. It's horrible.
Well, here today they started opening up all the gyms.
Yeah, my gym opened up today. So we'll see how it goes, but I'm not saying I'm scared of it, but it's just I'm sure it is bad, but the numbers just don't equate to what the data is being presented.
So do you think that this could be, the Democrats trying to sabotage Trump's reelection opportunity, and that they would intentionally try to shut down the United States and its economy in order to do that? And if that is true, then man, we got way more problems in politics than we thought.
I will say this, because I don't want to jinx myself and get COVID tomorrow and die, but I just think there's more to the story than we're being told. And if the economy was failing so bad and the Democrats actually cared about getting money to the American people, they wouldn't have included all the money for the Kennedy Center, emissions testing on airplanes for 2025, greenhouse tests. I mean, it's just that's not, they want 30% of women to be on corporate boards. And I got, I'm pissed off a neighbor when I mentioned that. They said, you don't think women need to be on corporate boards? And I said, I don't care if all women are on corporate boards. I just don't think that we shouldn't be worried about that right now. We need to get American people money. Give $25 million to the Kennedy Center, which ended up giving $10 million in donations to the Democratic National Convention.
Yep.
But who knows? Our government is so capable of so much crap. Maybe it's Trump and Biden's way of shutting down so they don't have to travel all over the place, and because they're old and they can't do the rigor of campaigning. So,
I mean, there's no way that the Democrats possibly think Joe Biden is going to beat Donald Trump in an election.
And you know what? That's why I think they were so racing to get everybody down, all this stuff down, because they knew Trump is not going to get defeated. He's going to get reelected. We need to get this shit passed. Because after that, I mean, ever since then, think about this. They've had the FBI probe forever. Then they started the, what else was it? There's something else. Then the impeachment. And then every single little thing. And now this. To where everything is just focused on, it's almost like a timeline. If you look at the break between COVID and the impeachment, Kobe Bryant died. You can say that. But
I think that there is only one shot the Democrats have of winning the next election. And I'm not endorsing this person. I'm not saying this person would be great at this job. I'm just thinking this person has the qualities that could possibly get enough people out to the polls to vote and defeat Trump. And I don't even think it's a sure thing that this person would beat Trump, but I think they'd have a good shot. And that person is Michelle Obama.
I think but do you really think she'd make a good president? I mean,
no. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I know she's a woman. She's African American. She has a good approval rating. She did a lot of things when she's a first lady, and she comes across as being someone who cares. And she's not as flawed as Joe Biden and some of those other people.
Well, if you want to have one conspiracy theory backed up by another one, I have a problem. I have a feeling that Hillary Clinton would pull something against that one.
Oh, yeah, she'd hate that because that was her dream to be the first female president. So,
yeah. Or
would she go, okay, Michelle, you run for president and I'll run as your VP?
Yeah. And then Michelle Obama mysteriously dies of COVID-19 with 10 bullet holes in the back.
Right. I would not want to be in Michelle's shoes if that ever came to fruition.
I wouldn't even want to be in the same town as Hillary Clinton.
So can you imagine Michelle Obama, Hillary Clinton ticket versus Pence and Trump? Now that's going to be a fight. That's going to be
No,
okay. That's going to go down to the wire. But
no, it's not. No, it's not.
But
No,
Joe
it's not.
Biden,
I'm telling you, this country hates Hillary Clinton so bad.
I know.
They chose Barack Obama, and then they chose Donald Trump over her ass. I mean, seriously, I like Trump. I don't like a lot of things he says, but I'm telling you, we elected Donald Trump over Hillary Clinton. That's how bad.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how bad we chose Barack Obama, who hadn't had a lick of experience in Washington.
It's not even.
We chose him.
It's not even
over Hillary.
How bad. It's just, for me, it's just how out of touch the Democratic Party is to think that Hillary had a shot of winning the presidency.
Okay, and now you got Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama would win.
But you don't think she can bring Hillary with her?
Nah, I don't think so. But Michelle Obama would win, and I'll tell you why.
What about
because the media would be portraying her like you would hear nothing but Michelle Obama 24/7, and they would paint her as the greatest saint in the world.
Absolutely.
Okay.
What about a Michelle Obama Cory Booker ticket?
I think they're trying to. If I know them, I think they're trying to get Andrew Cuomo in there, or what Governor Cuomo.
He's got a lot of baggage, man. His state's in disarray right now, man.
Well, he's screwing everybody that was working for him. I mean, did you hear about? There was some Tennessee nurses that went to New York to help, and they got job offers and everything, and they were there. They got money from the federal government to be there. La 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 la. Como wants them, and then they're going back home. Como wants them to start paying state taxes on top of that, and they're not even New York residents, and they were coming over there to help him out.
Wow.
But during this pandemic, it's been him all the time. So I think they're trying to show somebody who's a leader, and during a crisis and everything.
They're trying to build them up.
Yeah, because everybody knows Joe Biden doesn't have a. I mean, you'd have to see some designated survivors type shit to get that to happen.
The Democratic Party is just so out of touch and what they originally were, and they're just gone too far left, man. I mean, as a moderate, I'm a moderate, and it's just like I can't get on board with that, man.
I don't think we knew at the time. I mean, Clinton came in, and he was just this frat boy who kind of grew up and brought this new wave of energy into Washington. Now, he screwed all the American factories, but Clinton just had a way with talking. He could stand there. He could stand in front of you and talk about what he did with your mom last night and how he violated her 6 feet to Sunday, and then just make you fall in love with him because of the way he talked, how he could connect with someone.
Yeah, those Clintons, man, they're something else, right?
But I'll tell you what, number one on my bucket list, go to either a Hooters or a titty bar with Bill Clinton.
William Jefferson.
I mean, Bill Clinton was a cool motherfucker. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he was definitely not boring.
Well, do you know why he was so great? He is the only person, or the only American president that was capable of lying and telling the truth at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know that? Listen to this famous, he said, I did not have sexual relationships of that nature with that woman, Ms. Lewinsky. Not Miss Lewinsky, Ms. Lewinsky,
Hmm.
which Ms. Lewinsky would be married. He could have been talking about, no, I didn't have sex with her mom. I didn't have sex with Ms. Lewinsky. That's how great he is. And then they asked him, do you think that conduct is acceptable for the American president? He boldly looked at the camera and said, it depends on what your definition of is. He was
Clinton,
brilliant. He was
yeah,
brilliant.
he was a Rhodes Scholar. So he was probably almost always the smartest man in the room. But what he did, he played country dumb to have people put down their guard.
I didn't like Obama. I thought George Bush was a good man. He had the most evil cabinet in the world. But
Mr. Cheney.
oh God, that man was Satan incarnate.
Have you seen that movie about Dick Cheney?
Oh yeah, and
It's
not to mention
wild,
George.
man.
And I'm telling you what. That honestly was the Dick Cheney campaign, because Dick Cheney didn't have a chance in hell getting to the White House. He always wanted to be president. Always wanted to be president. He knew he wouldn't have a chance in hell of getting elected, so he got on George Bush's ticket. That man ran the country. He's so evil. And not to mention their campaign manager was Satan's curator, Karl Rove.
You remember when David Letterman would – no, it wasn't Letterman. Was it Colbert that have that piece of ham with glasses on his desk and say it was Karl Rove?
I don't know, but George Bush was a really good man. He was a really good man. But when we got out to Iraq, we were just looking around and said, Donald Rumsfeld needs to resign over this shit. This is the biggest clusterfuck I've ever seen. So
Those old weapons of mass destruction, man, they're everywhere.
Yeah. Nope. But then not only that, but stateside, we got No Child Left Behind, which was the biggest failure of any school system, period.
I will plead the fifth on that.
Okay, I'm just saying some kids are not.
I'm not saying I disagree. I'm just saying I'm pleading the fifth.
Okay, well, I know you're a teacher and I know you have your opinions on everything, but there are certain kids that cannot sit in a class and do tests all day, but they can excel in other areas.
Mm-hmm.
Like me, I consider myself to be a smart person, but I have test anxiety, so I don't score high as the other people on certain tests. And you can't punish a kid or punish a school just because he can't take a test right.
Well, TJ, that's what happens when you have politicians in charge of education who've never set foot in a classroom.
All right. Well, so here's why I'm disappointed in Barack Obama. And I'm going to say that I wanted so bad to see a black president or any kind of African-American president or whatever. I wanted him to go into the school systems of these inner city schools and fix the damn education problem in public schools. Okay? What happened? Nothing. Okay? What did it do to inner city violence? Nothing. And my biggest problem with the Democratic Party is I feel like they cater to minorities and tell them, oh, we're on your side, just so we can get you to vote for them. And they don't do shit for them.
Yeah. And apparently the few articles I've read over the last couple of weeks are saying a lot of African Americans are leaving the liberal side because they're starting to feel like it's once every 4 years, we're all about you. We want to help you. Then after the election, they forget about them.
They do. And it's apparent. And, they're going to say, well, the Republican Party only cares about the rich people. And they say, well, yeah, and they're not going to deny it, But I think during the Bush administration, America leaned way too conservative. Way too conservative. Just wasn't about federalism anymore.
Well, a lot of that had to do with after the 9/11 and the Patriot Act, which was in my opinion, the worst law ever passed in American history. And one thing that I will agree about Obama with you is when Obama took office, he had the opportunity to eliminate the Patriot Act. And what he did instead basically is made it stronger. So I was disappointed in that because I'm like, surely when the statutes are up and he has a chance to get rid of the bill or at least make it less intrusive, he will do that. And he did the exact opposite. And I was like really surprised. I'm like,
Okay. But did you see? I just felt like nothing happened. He was just a Democratic pony to get into the office. He was a good-looking, charismatic, smooth-talking guy who got elected office, and he was the Democratic Party's puppet.
well, to be fair, almost every president has been a puppet. I mean, I think there's been exceptions throughout history, but I don't think that was an anomaly. I think that's what usually happens rather than something that hardly ever happens. I don't think Trump is being controlled. If we love him or hate him, I think he just does whatever the hell he wants to do.
And that's what we need. He's not going to listen to polls. He doesn't care. He knows what needs to be done, and he's going to do it. But have you ever seen a president campaign and say, I'm going to do this, and actually do it? Institutionalization of the criminal justice system on black men. I wanted to look at the laws, look at the sentencing guidelines, and change it. Okay? No reason why a black kid should be caught selling dope at 18, okay, get a felony, and then go get out of jail, go to college, make something of himself, and at 55 years old, he cannot get a job because of what happened to him when he was 18 years old. That felony box, that should have been erased. Did it? No. Are black people still doing time for crack more than you can for rape? Yes.
Well, TJ, you know better than I do. The prison system's set up to make money, and anytime they have an opportunity to put minorities in for anything, they're at a higher risk to sentence them harsher than your average ordinary white guy.
Mm-hmm. Well, and guess what? You can also thank for that was Bill Clinton because he's the one that enacted mandatory minimums and 3 strike laws.
Yeah. So
we know. Go ahead.
I was going to say, in order to help restructure, that system, the first thing they're going to have to do is get the prisons out of the business of making money.
Yeah. And that's why it's another thing. I just don't agree with for-profit prisons.
Yeah.
I mean, our correctional system is putting way too much. We've got way too many people incarcerated. Way too many. And you're trying to tell me that all the money we spend on, prisons, we can't spend on ankle bracelets?
Mm.
Okay, you go into a city jail. A lot of those people are there because it's their 3rd DUI. A lot of people are there because they got caught with a few bags of dope, trying to make some money. Come on, dude. Are they really violent offenders?
Mm.
I don't know. I just, I graduated with a degree in criminal justice, and I just don't agree with the criminal justice. I think it's all for profit.
So, TJ, former military, you are collecting disability for your service to your country, like a lot of vets are. Why not take this time, get your shit together, and run for office where you can help make change?
And, when everybody says, well, if you think you can do better, you run from office. Nobody respects military anymore. Nobody. I mean, they admire, hey, good job what you did. Good job. But you know what? You're only saying that because you didn't have to do it. People think that's the patriotic thing to say. But we don't have people that respect military. So you honestly think, I'd vote for General Tommy Franks in a heartbeat just because I know what kind of man he is. And I know what his military service background is. 24-year-old kid doesn't care about that. Oh, wow, you're a general? Wow. I don't care. So how would you get somebody military in the office and really make change? I like Dan Crenshaw. If he were to ever decide to run for president, I would do my best to get on his staff.
Well, I'm not talking presidency. I'm talking about local because, I feel like you can get more change locally than you can federally. I think it's a lot easier, too. So just locally is what I'm talking about.
Well, I haven't been around I haven't been back in Jackson in 23 years, which I'm kind of technically back in Jackson. I am not, but number one, it's got to be hard to delegate with people, and people got to go in. When you go into office, you got to realize you're going to make a lot of enemies. You're going to have more enemies than you are going to be fans. The only problem is your fans are very important fans. They keep you in office, but you got to be able to deal with all that stuff. And but the way if the media was not like it is today, and people didn't believe trash and garbage, I would do it in a heartbeat. But yeah, I don't want to be running for president and then get so close and then have some girl that I may have kissed wrong in ninth grade.
TJ, they're going to do that no matter who you are.
Yeah.
And it's better just to be honest and upfront. Get all your skeletons out of the closet up front. That way, remember the movie 8 Mile when Eminem had to go first, so he started saying all this bad things about himself, so the other guy couldn't say it. So I feel like when you get in politics, it's better for you to be up front and say, "Hey, in my past, I've done this, I've done that." That way, when it comes time to campaign, what are they going to pull up? Oh, yeah, he did that, but he admitted to doing that. So what's your point?
Yeah, but I also got an anger problem. I'd lose it on a reporter.
So you're saying your anger problem's worse than Trump's anger problem?
Well, I just have a very let's just say when Trump gets mad, people laugh. When I get mad, I would clear that press room. I'm telling you.
No, I think you have more control than you think.
I'm just proud of you for doing this podcast because I felt like, man, this is so Chris. Make a great host.
No, we'll see. We'll see what happens in the future.
Hey, you never know. All it takes is an idea. Like our man Isaac Burton Tiger.
So, TJ, did Carol Baskin kill her husband?
I've watched I think 15 minutes of that whole show.
You gotta watch it, TJ. You gotta watch it.
Is it really bad?
Yes. I think I've told you it's like the Trailer Park Boys meet Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom.
Oh God.
That's
pretty bad.
That and Trailer Park Boys is one of the greatest shows in history. So that's definitely not an insult. All right, TJ. Well, I appreciate your time.
All right. Love you, brother.
Love you, man. You take care.
You too, bud.
Bye, brother.